Hi, welcome all to my tutorial for Zelle Chapter 11, Exercise 12. And in this case, we're doing the one that's in the book. So let's take a look in the book. Extend the program from the previous exercise, Exercise 11, to accept the file of censored words as another input file. The words in the original file that appear in the censored words file are to be replaced by an appropriate number of asterisks. Okay, so instead of just looking for 4-letter words, we're going to be looking for a set of words that are on a list. Okay? And I'm just going to tell you ahead of time that this is something that we're going to be able to do using a dictionary. Okay? All right. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a version of the tutorial program that I did for exercise 11. So let's start with that. So I'm going to go find that and copy it. And I'm going to paste it. And we want this one to be 12, not 11. So we fix that. And we open it up. And this, well, it's not exercise 11 anymore. Okay, I get that. And I'm going to work with a file of integers again. And I'm going to censor them again. But I'm going to make the same kind of change. Instead of just looking for one value, 666, I'm going to have an input file that lists censored values. And I'm going to replace them with an acceptable value. Okay? So let's change our comment. Okay? So let's say this. We're going to prompt the user for the name of a file containing two integer values on each line. First is value to censor. Second is replacement value. Okay? And I want to do this because I want to have something to look up in my dictionary. Okay? So for instance, I want to have a key value pair, so the key is going to be the value to censor, and the value is going to be the replacement value. Whereas with you, when you take this kind of approach, the key, I think, will be the word that you're trying to censor, and the value could be the number of asterisks that you want to print out. Or it could just be that character string of asterisk, and you could simply print that out. Okay? Because if you have a dictionary, it's really nice, even if you just want to find if something is in a list, it's really nice to have something to look up. Because it really is about key value pairs, not just a list of keys. Okay? So then, so we want to say then, copy a file of integers, replacing instances of censored values, and we don't want to give a particular one, with their substitute value. Right? All right, it's going to take care of it right there. So I think we're done with that. All right. So The first thing we need another file. So let's do that. So let's have it, instead of in file, perhaps that was a particular wasn't the best chosen name. But let's call this one censored values file. Okay. Oh, let's just call it, yeah, censored values file. Censored values file name. Okay. And let's prompt for it. So let's do some cloning here. So we want to prompt. So enter file containing censored values and substitutes. Okay, that's pretty explicit, I think. And then we want to have a file. What's this going to be called? Let's give a name instead of in file. Let's call this censored censored values file equals, and then let's do an open. So open and censored values file name, and of course we just want to read it. Okay, so we have an open here. We have a list, we have a bunch of closes down here. As long as we're down here, let's make sure we close it. So censored values file close. Okay. Now, some people might say, well, you know what? I want you to close it immediately after you use it, because we want to control the number of resources that we're going to use. Every time we open a file, we use some more memory. And I'm going to say that in this day and age, that's not really a constraint. And I'd like it better that we open them all 1, 2, 3, and then we close them all 1, 2, 3. It uses a little bit more memory, but I don't care. And hopefully you don't care either. It's a little bit easier to read, and it's a little bit easier to remember. Okay. Now, before we start to process the main input file, we need to come up with the values to censor. So, when are we going to do this? Let's do that before the processing. Okay. So let's say this. Let's just say for line in censored values file. I'm going to do the same thing we did with the other one. Okay. And now we have to do two things here. One is we need a place to put these values that we're getting in. Two, so and I've already said we want to put them in a dictionary. So the next thing we have to do is we have to get every line, and we need to parse the line and put the values into the dictionary. Okay? So let's do that. So let's get us an empty dictionary. So what's our dictionary as censored values going to be called? Let's call it blacklist. Okay, that's kind of what it is. Equals an empty dictionary. Okay, curly braces, empty. All right. So, what are we going to do? Well, we are going to have to turn these into integer values. Why are we? Well, because our solution that I have uses real integer values. I could have decided to process them as text, but I decided it'd be fun to convert them into integers back and forth. So now we're going to have to take care of that. So let's put the code into parse a line of this blacklist file. Okay? Okay. So let's do this. Let's have a key. Let's say key and value equal no, can I do that? No. Let's call this key as string, value as string. Equals line split. Okay? So we split the line, we get two values, and we can we've got the key and we've got the value. All right? Okay. This is for our dictionary. So it's going to be the censored integer and the substitute integer. Okay. And then we want to do this. We want to say blacklist sorry, we have to turn them into ints. My bad. So key equals int of key is string and value equals int of value as string. All right. And we're just going to say blacklist. So here's where we actually put it into the dictionary. And we have a key value, and that's going to be key gets assigned value. That's it. All right. So now we have our list of value. So let's call this, give it a little comment, build blacklist dictionary. Okay. All right. So here now we're going to have to ask ourselves, is is the value that we want in the dictionary. Okay? If it is in the dictionary, well, then we're going to take the replacement. Otherwise, we're going to take the one that we just got. How does that sound? It sounds good to me. So now we're going to use some code that we learned. It's actually in both of our textbooks. And it works like this. Okay? What we are trying to do here is we are trying to get the value that we want. If not, we want some other value. So how's that going to look? Well, it's going to look like this. So here, instead of having an if-else, okay, we can say value to store do we really want to say that? No, yeah, okay. Let's call it value to store. Okay. And it's either going to be equal to the one that we bring back when we check the dictionary, or the one that we just got, that int value. Okay, so let's look at that. Equals, so let's say blacklist. Let's call it get. Okay. Let's use the key. Okay. So the key is this int value. That's the one we just came with. So if we find the int value in the dictionary, then we're going to want to take whatever value is in there, whatever substitute we have. Otherwise, we're going to want to take the int value itself. Okay, so we're either going to get the int value itself or the substitute if it's in the blacklist. Okay, and then we're just going to append into int values, append value to store. Okay. Int values. Int underscore values. That's where it is. Yeah, so let's look at this. All right. We've already built the blacklist dictionary, okay? And they're key value pairs. The key is the number we're looking for. The value is the replacement for it, okay? So now here, I go around and I'm processing the input, and let's say I get it as a string. I turn it into an int. So now the int that I just got in is an int value. And now what I want to do is I want to know what I want to store. Okay? So I'm either going to store, if I look in the blacklist and I get a hit, then I'm going to take the value associated with that key. Otherwise, I want to use the value I actually have. So that's why int value is both the key and it's the default. Okay? And then, of course, we were all along appending these into int values. All right, let's see how that works. Okay, so let us look at our test files. Okay, we already have some test files. We have uncensored input. So let's take a look at that. That's got some promising stuff from what we ran before. And we've got censored output. Let's take a look at that, see what that looks like. And then all the 666s were turned into 555s. So here's what I want to do. As my first test, I want to try to reproduce what I did before. Okay, so what am I going to call this file? I need a new file. And I'm going to call it blacklist.txt. Okay. And what am I going to have? Well, I'm going to make it bigger, although you can't see it. I'm going to say I've got 666 and my substitute value is 555. That looks pretty good. All right, let's see that work. So I'm going to do a Command S here on my Mac, and it's save the file. You see how I got that line 2 when it got saved. So that looks fine. I think I'm ready to test. Okay, so let's go back here and let's see if we can give it a test. So run. Okay. Enter file containing censored values and substitute. That's my blacklist.txt. Blacklist.txt. Enter file to censor. Well, that's uncensored input .txt. And enter file for censored output. That's censored output.txt. Well, ran first time. Let's see if it did some interesting stuff. Well, let's look. Let's look in censored output.txt. This looks good. I didn't want to double click on that. So in uncensored input, we had 1 in line 2, 1 in line 4, and 2 in line 9. So 1 in line 2, 1 in line 4, 2 in line 9, and it didn't get caught on that 66 either. Sorry about that. Okay, well that looks good. So that's fine. Okay. What if we don't have anything in our blacklist at all? Oh boy, that's interesting. Let's look what happens there. So what happens if blacklist is empty? Well, we should get everything because we have no blacklist. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to Command S here on my Mac. It'd be Control S on your other on your Windows. Let's give this a run. So let's say we want to run this. We still want the blacklist to be blacklist, but now it's empty. Blacklist.txt, uncensored input.txt. Okay. Censored output.txt. It says it wrote it. So let's go up and look at censored output. I should see my 666s. There they are. So now I'm not replacing anything at all. Now the really nice thing about the way we wrote the program is if we don't put anything into the dictionary, then of course every time we go to look something up, it's not going to be found. And of course, when it's not found, that's going to cause us to store the actual value into our list of values. So that's just what we want. That looks great. Okay, let's see if it'll work with more than one value on the blacklist. So let's see, what other values do we have here? Well, we've got one. We've got that in two different places. And we've got, what else do we have more than one of? That's it. So let's do a 1, which we have 2 of, and a 2, which we have 1 of. Okay, so let's do that. 1, let's replace that with 888. And 2, let's replace that with 999. And 666, let's replace that with 555. Okay, so we want all three of those to work. Again, I'm going to make sure this is saved. Okay, and I see how my line 4 pops up there. I know that's been saved. Okay, and now I'm going to give it a run. All right, so run it. Okay, so what's our blacklist name? Well, blacklist.txt. And what's our file to censor? Uncensored values.txt. And uncensored input. Well, I got a little too cocky there, didn't I? Let's try it again. So we run it again. Blacklist.txt. Uncensored input.txt. And then the last one is called censored output.txt, and that runs. So let's see, let's look at the input. Well, we've got 2 1s, 1 2, and 4 666s. So the 2 1s, they're on line 1 and line 9, and they should be turned into 888s. So let's look at that. So line 1 has an 888, line 9 has an 888. That looks good. The second one, every 2 should be a 999. So how many 2s do we have? Well, just that 1 2 on line 2. So line 2 should start out with a 999. Line 2 starts out with a 999. And then let's book back. The last thing we want to do is we want to turn our 666s into 555s. And if we go back here, we've got 1 on line 2, 1 on line 4, 2 on line 9. So 1 on line 2, 1 on line 4, 2 on line 9. That works. Okay. Well, very good. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to make this work for words, right? So you don't have to do all that conversion to int and all that kind of stuff, which is nice. And you have to figure out a way to use the value part of the key value pair in the dictionary, because it says that you have to replace your blacklisted words with an equivalent number of asterisks. So you could store the asterisk in there. You could store the length of the word. You could do whatever you want. You can really, because you can compute it as you go, you really don't need to use the value. But I think you do well if you put something in the value and then you pull that out and use it in place of the word. So you probably want to put that number of asterisks in the value. Something like that is going to make it more dictionary-like, and I think it'll serve you well. Okay, that's it. Good luck. See you next time.